There are as many languages as there are people. Which explains why, last Tuesday, my wife said something in perfect English, and I somehow gave the worst possible answer. Without even realising it, I'm standing in the garage doorway, not inside the garage, just at the threshold, looking at the mess. Boxes I said I'd organise 3 months ago. Tools scattered everywhere, the kids' old bikes blocking the path to the lawnmower. My wife walks past behind me, doesn't even pause, doesn't look at me, just keeps walking. And she says, "The garage needs cleaning." And in my head I'm thinking, why is she saying this like it's breaking news? I can see it needs cleaning. I have eyes. I walk past this every single day. What does she want me to say? So I say, "Okay." And immediately, shoulders tense, jaw tightens. Because I already know that okay was the wrong answer. But I don't know why yet. We had a fight about an hour later. Not a big one, just one of those slow burn fights where you're both frustrated and neither of you can say why. And the next day, I'm watching this Korean show. Don't ask why, I was avoiding the garage. And someone says, there aren't 7,000 languages in the world. There are as many languages as there are people. And I finally understood what happened. We were speaking different languages in English. I'm David Nobody, and this is why we keep misunderstanding each other, even when we're trying not to. So let me break down what actually happened, because on the surface, it's absurd. She says, "The garage needs cleaning." I hear the words. I understand the words. I respond, "Okay." In my head, I've acknowledged the information. Task logged, communication successful. In her head, I've just dismissed her. Again. Because what she said wasn't actually about the garage. It was about the fact that she's been managing the house, the kids, the schedule, the mental load of keeping everything running. And the garage has become this physical symbol of things David said he'd handle, but hasn't. And when I said, "okay," just that one word, her translation was, he doesn't care. He's not going to do it. And he doesn't even realise how much this is weighing on me. Which, to be fair, was probably accurate. Because I didn't realise. Not because I don't care, but because we were speaking different languages. She was speaking the language of, I need partnership and I'm drowning in responsibility. I was speaking the language of, I heard you and I'll get to it when I prioritise it, which is probably never because my brain doesn't register garage mess as urgent. Turns out those are very different languages. So here's what's actually going on. And this isn't just about marriage. This is about every conversation you've ever had where you thought you were being perfectly clear and the other person somehow heard something completely different. Your brain doesn't actually hear what people say. It hears what it thinks they mean, based on 3 things. 1, your current emotional state. If you're tired, stressed, or hungry, your brain's threat detector, the amygdala, is on high alert. Think of your brain like an overzealous security guard. When you're exhausted or stressed, the security guard sees threats everywhere. Someone says, "We need to talk," even though they just want to discuss what to have for dinner. I do this constantly. My wife will say something completely neutral, and my brain, because I'm exhausted, or because work was shit, or because I'm just generally anxious, translates it into criticism. And then I respond to the criticism I imagined, not to the thing she actually said, which, predictably, goes very well. Like this morning, my kid walks into the kitchen. I'm making coffee. He says, "Dad, I'm bored." I hear, "Entertain me, drop everything and fix my problem." What he meant, "I want to spend time with you." See how fast that happens? Same words, completely different dictionaries. 2. Your personal history. How you were raised, past relationships, past jobs. All of that creates your internal dictionary. At work, if a manager says, "I need you to take initiative on this project," one person hears, "Great, they trust me." Another person who's been burned before hears, "They're setting me up to fail." Same words, entirely different translations. Like we're all walking around with Google Translate in our heads, but it's the early 2000s version that translates "I love you" into "the lamp is angry." And then we get upset when people don't understand us. 3. The assumption that they should just know. This is the killer, especially with people you're close to. Because we think, we've been together for years, they should know what I mean by now. But they don't. Because you're not actually saying what you mean. You're saying a fraction of what you mean and expecting them to magically decode the rest. And when they can't, when they get it wrong, it doesn't just feel like miscommunication. It feels like they don't see you, like you're speaking into a void. And that hurts. The work example, I had this happen at work a few months ago. Virtual meeting, Zoom, my boss, me, a colleague, and 3 others. It's 4 p.m. Everyone's tired. We've been talking about this project for 40 minutes. My boss says, "David, can you take the lead on this?" And in my head, I'm thinking, great, finally something interesting. I can do this. So I say, "Sure, happy to." Enthusiastic, probably too enthusiastic. Because I didn't notice that my colleague's video square went completely still. She was talking before, animated, taking notes. Now, nothing. Just staring at the screen, face neutral. And I think, that's weird. But I keep talking, outlining the project, making plans. Meeting ends. 3 days later, I find out from someone else, not from her, that she'd been working toward leading that exact project for 6 months, had documented everything, had a full plan ready. And when my boss offered it to me, in her head, in her personal language, what she heard was, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. He doesn't even see you." And when I said, "Sure, happy to," cheerful, enthusiastic, her translation was, "Of course he's taking it. He doesn't even realise I exist." Which wasn't what I meant at all. But it's what she heard. Because we were operating from completely different dictionaries. Mine, opportunity offered, opportunity accepted. Hers, another erasure. Another time I don't matter. Same moment, completely different languages. So the next time someone misunderstands you, they didn't. They understood perfectly in their language, which is not your language. And that's the problem. It's like we're all playing a game of telephone, but the game is every conversation, and the prize is not getting into a fight. What I've learned. So what do you actually do about this? I don't have a perfect answer, because I still fuck this up regularly. But I've learnt a few things. Not 3 steps to better communication. This isn't a TED Talk. Just things that sometimes help. Is catching myself before I get defensive and asking, what are they hearing that I'm not saying? This is hard because when someone misunderstands you, your brain wants to go, I was perfectly clear, they're the problem. But most of the time, the problem is the translation. The other thing that's helped, when something feels off, don't just repeat yourself louder. Ask, when I said X, how did that land with you? Or, when you said Y, what did you mean by that? And if you still feel a disconnect, ask again, from a different angle. With my wife, after the garage fight, we're standing at the sink, 9 p.m, washing dishes. And I finally ask, when you said the garage needs cleaning, what were you actually asking me for? She stops washing, puts down the sponge, turns and looks at me. And she says, I was asking you to notice that I'm drowning and to offer to help without me having to ask. Which I had completely missed. Because in my language, the garage needs cleaning was a statement of fact, not a request for emotional support. But now I know, for next time. So, did I clean the garage? Eventually, after we talked it out. After I finally understood what she was actually asking for. But I still get it wrong, all the time. Because there are as many languages as there are people, and I'm still learning hers. And she's still learning mine. Which I think is what relationships actually are. 2 people trying to translate each other, mostly fucking it up, but trying anyway. If you've ever said something completely harmless and watched the other person's face do that thing where you know you're about to have a very important conversation, you know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments. I'm David Nobody. I speak a language only I understand. And so do you. And that's why we keep misunderstanding each other. But at least now you know why. And knowing doesn't fix it, but it helps. A little. Which will probably be next Tuesday. Which was also a Tuesday.